All right, Britt, wrap us up here. Your fantasy MVP.
I'm gonna go with a guy who's probably not very popular, but he's
Daryl
served me well
Henderson.
in the past. But
What's up,
What
Fackers?
up?
We are back. Football NFL starts tonight with the Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs versus my Houston Texans going up in the kickoff game. Finally, we're getting some football in 2020. And we're going to go over a little fantasy preview for this game tonight. Okay? So let's just get right into it. This game has the highest over-under on the week, I believe, at 54.5. So you're looking at points to be scored, which means fantasy points will be a-flowing. All right, so you want to start with the Chiefs or the Texans?
Let's go with the Chiefs first. Save the Texans because you like the Texans. So
All right, we'll start with the Chiefs. I mean, this is pretty obvious. If you have Patrick Mahomes, he is going to feast on this Texans defense. This Texans defense is probably at least a bottom 10 defense in the league, maybe closer to bottom 5. They don't have anybody in the secondary that can cover these guys. They have one pass rusher in J.J. Watt, who is always banged up. If he's fully healthy, he's still good, but he can't do it all by himself. Their linebackers are pretty slow. They have nobody that can keep up with these guys. Travis Kelce is going to feast on whoever is covering him. Like, it's not a good matchup. So basically what I'm saying on the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Now, obviously that's a must start anyways, all right? You drafted him in the top rounds, you're starting him. Tyreek Hill, another obvious start. But I would not hate it if you had to start a guy like McCole Hardman or Sammy Watkins. All right. These secondary receivers that these Texans cornerbacks are not going to be able to cover. I could easily see them busting off a long touchdown, which makes it worth a start.
I think it's worth saying we lost. Or God damn it, I'm gonna stop saying we. I'm not a Texans fan.
Sounds like it.
The Texans lost Jonathan Joseph. I think they just lost Garyon Conley.
Garyon Conley was supposed to be their second starting cornerback. He's on the IR.
Yeah, so if you were scared for some odd reason, if you were scared of the Texans cornerbacks, don't be anymore. And obviously you're not going to be scared when you have Patrick Mahomes throwing them to him. So yeah, with that high of a point total too, there should be a lot of touchdowns to be scored, mostly by the Chiefs probably. I will say in the offseason, the Chiefs camp was saying that Watkins was getting most of the run as their second wide receiver and those wide receiver 2 sets. So if you had to pick one, I'd probably lean Did I say Watson or Watkins?
You said Watkins.
Okay. So I'd probably lean Watkins. I think Hardman's more of the replacement for Tyreek Hill, whereas Robinson is a replacement for Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
But if they do go through wide receiver sets, then yeah, Hardman might catch a deep ball he might have 2 receptions for 70 yards and a touchdown or something.
That's kind of the thing I'm banking on with if you were to start a Hardman and breaking a big play. But we don't want to spend too much time on the Mahomes, the Kelce, even Edward Solaire. Where you drafted him, obviously he's a must start. This is a perfect game, I think, for him to get his feet wet in the NFL.
Do you think Daryl Williams has any play though?
I do think Daryl Williams has a little bit of play because they've been talking about they still like Daryl Williams. He's gonna get some touches. If the Chiefs do go up big, he will get some touches toward the end of the game too. Yeah. I actually like Daryl Williams in a DFS play this week because he's super cheap, and this is a guy that I could easily see getting a goal line touchdown.
Yeah, I think they said in the offseason too that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was struggling with some pass protection, and Williams is the guy that that's his job almost. In the past, or at least last year when they had Damon Williams and LaShawn McCoy and Daryl Williams. Daryl Williams is an excellent pass protector, so they might just feel safe, especially with no preseason games here. They might lean on him at the beginning and then throw Helaire in there every now and then. But I could easily see both of them getting around. I could see it be a 60-40 split, maybe leans Helaire a little bit. But
yeah. What do you think, Britt? How's the Chiefs looking game 1?
Well, I mean, pretty damn good. I mean, let's be honest. I'm really only starting Mahomes, Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and then Edward Solaire, where you drafted him, obviously. Hardman and Watkins, I do like the upside play, but this early in the season, you're probably not starting one of them.
Yeah, unless you're in a super deep league.
Exactly. I mean, dude, Edward Solaire is a monster at LSU. He was so good out of the backfield. He catches the ball very well, which is like I had Kareem Hunt 2 years ago when he got suspended, and like that was the thing. Those little screens out the side, dude, and Mahomes creates so much opening. Like I don't know, Edward Solaire could be a monster, but I do think in this first probably 2 or 3 games, I think Daryl Williams is going to have a role. But Edward Solaire is going to be the guy. I mean, as long as he stays healthy, I see him being a top 10 running back, just being a part of that Chiefs offense, and if Mahomes stays healthy.
Why don't you ask him about the poll you threw up in our sleeper chat?
So we do have the, we'll just call it the Battle of the Bastards, just like it is between Turpin and Michael. And each one of them had a chief, which they drafted relatively early. Clyde Edwards-Helaire versus Kelsey. And I put a poll up in points. And I think as of now, Kelsey had a 4-3 lead.
Do you think Kelsey's going to score more?
No, I voted Edwards-Helaire. I think he's going to have that breakout game.
I voted Kelsey.
But this is, you couldn't ask for a better matchup for the passing offense of the Chiefs. Like Mahomes is QB1 this week.
Okay.
Kelsey is tight end 1. Tyreek Hill could probably be wide receiver 1 this week. Like those guys are going to put up monster numbers against this shitty Texans secondary.
No, now you want to admit they're shitty.
The secondary.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We love the Chiefs though. Let's get to the Texans because I think I don't know. What do you think of this game, Keller?
So obviously, the Chiefs are favored by 9, but it's a huge over/under. Like Deshaun Watson's going to put up some points. Texans are going to score some points. All right. The Texans' offense, no matter what you think about their defense or this team as a whole, they have some people on offense that are going to score some points. So Deshaun Watson is obviously you started him to start. Okay, Deshaun Watson's going to put up some points. Now after that, like the receivers. Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks could easily bust along when and score some points. They're very high volatile guys. Like we know that the Texans are missing DeAndre Hopkins, which is the guy they relied on and threw to every time.
They're not missing him. He ain't coming back.
Well, yeah, missing him forever.
Look, yeah, if I got Fuller, I'm rolling the dice, baby. Especially Thursday night. Like if he's the only guy you have on your team who even plays tomorrow night, I'm throwing him out there. I think he could have a huge game.
The question for the other guy, Brandon Cooks, he is questionable with a quad injury, and we know how those like he had the concussions issue last year. Already has the quad injury. I don't like that. A sneaky play could be a guy like Kenny Stills, who last year when he was the number 2 guy with Hopkins with Fuller out, Kenny Stills did put up some decent numbers in this offense. All right.
Didn't Stills have a decent first game? Didn't they play the Saints last year on the road? Yeah, okay. He did. Okay, I remember that. Okay.
What about Randall Cobb, though?
Randall Cobb, they spent $9 million on. He's going to be running out there in the slot. You got to figure they're going to throw to him some.
Yeah, that's a DFS play if I ever saw one. But I guess the real question here is David Johnson. I mean, does he return to form? I mean,
here's the thing about Texans running backs. You can say whatever you want to about Bill O'Brien and how he coaches the game. But in his entire coaching career, they've had a startable fantasy running back because he refuses to not run the ball right up the middle on first and second down. All right?
Workhorse.
David Johnson is going to get a ton of carries in this offense. Will he get some catches? Hopefully, because he's a great receiving back. They also have Duke Johnson, who as of now, I don't like Duke Johnson due to the fact that they don't pass the ball to their running backs very much. But I think David Johnson has, and I'll tell you one thing. We know Bill O'Brien. He's super stubborn. What do you think the one thing he wants to do this season?
He's going to pound the fucking ball with
He wants to prove to everybody that David Johnson was worth trading DeAndre Hopkins. So David Johnson is going to, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to get a ton of touches. He's going to get the goal line carries. At where you drafted him, he could end up being like a high value player for you. Just because I think he has the potential to go all the way up to that close to running back 1.
Okay, that's what I was about to ask. Does he have top 5 potential?
Okay, top 5 potential is different than top 10 potential.
No, I know. I heard you say top 10. Do you think
top
he has
5
top 5?
is just, I think there's such a separate, I don't see any way. Those top 5 guys are so set, and McCaffrey, Barkley, Elliott. And I mean, personally, I like Henry, and then you got Kamara and Cook. It's hard to unseat one of those guys. So yeah, it would not surprise me if he was able to jump up right into that 8, 9, 10 territory. Like top 5, I'm not sure, but top 10, yeah, I can see that.
Absolutely.
And we didn't get to show it this time, but I'll mention it again. Yeah, Carlos Hyde last year absolutely ran over KC. That was the way to beat him. He ran for 26 attempts, 116 yards. And if you wanted, like I said, if you want to beat KC last year, you had to run the ball. So that's what you're going to have to do with David Johnson. Fuck Duke Johnson, you're not going to play.
Yeah. And as far as Texans tight ends, do we even have tight ends? I don't know.
If you had to pick one, I was reading an article today. Like Jordan Akins was the guy that got probably the more targets. Darren Fells was super touchdown reliant or dependent. Yeah, so you don't want to start either one of them. I think there's better streaming options out there for week one at least. Did we mention that? I want to go back to Will Fuller real quick. That last year, that game where he dropped like 3 touchdowns against KC. Did you mention that?
No, that was the game we won. He dropped like 3 touchdown passes. Which, if you follow Will Fuller during his career, 1, he gets hurt. 2, he drops passes. So not that surprising.
Yeah. So, but if he's healthy,
it is going to be interesting to see. This is the first time we see Deshaun Watson without DeAndre Hopkins. I want to see if he actually spreads the ball around or if he just has a new guy that he relies on.
Yeah.
He's never spread the ball around.
He had 50 points last year versus Atlanta.
Yeah,
there's potential there for an explosion.
I think
as bad as we said the Texans defense are, the Chiefs defense isn't that great either. All right, they're more middle of the pack, but they can be scored on.
No, for sure. They were better at home last year, but I think that had a lot to do with their home field advantage,
fans, which are not going to be.
They're going to have 15,000 there. I think is they're capping out 15 to 25,000. Yeah. So I wouldn't worry about that much. And who knows? Maybe Patrick Mahomes got married, so he's probably going to play like shit.
Is that how that works?
Yeah. Okay. And they just won a Super Bowl, so
he got married or he got engaged?
Engaged.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And they're on that. Travis Kelce's probably still pounding beers from partying.
So basically, what we're saying from a fantasy standpoint, this is going to be a high-powered game. Yeah. Lots of fantasy points both ways, probably. Will the Texans lose? Most likely. Will they score some fantasy points, though? Yes.
Yes.
So if you have Texans,
I want to say this too. Play who you drafted. Like, don't try to get cute this week. No one knows what the fuck's going to happen. Yeah. I mean, in this game, we do.
Especially the first week. I wouldn't start most rookies because you don't know how they're going to perform. No preseason. Go with the reliable veterans most likely, and you'll probably be okay.
Yeah. All right. So last thing we want to do here before we wrap this up is just go over some preseason fantasy predictions. This is our last time for a preseason to give our predictions. So we're going to give our biggest bust of the year, our biggest sleeper of the year, and our fantasy MVP. So I'm going to start it off with my biggest bust. And I'm just going to get right to it. If you watched our video on this guy, you know how I feel about him. But I'm going with Nick Chubb.
Damn it.
I hate his ADP. Now, his ADP's even gone down since the last time. So his ADP was around that 8, 9, 10 range. Now you can probably get him around 15. All right, but I still think that's way too early. My main argument for that, I know he's a beast. I know when he gets touches, he's going to produce. But Kareem Hunt is there. You cannot argue with that. They just gave him an extension. They plan on him being involved in the offense for at least a few more years. So no matter, Nick Chubb could be the best fucking running back on the planet, but when you have a guy like Kareem Hunt there also, he's gonna take some stuff from you. So I just hate him at his ADP there. It's too damn high.
Well, I'm gonna let you go, Britt, because that was one of mine. But I have another one in my pocket. But you're probably gonna steal it.
We're doing bust first.
Yeah, go with your biggest bust of the year.
Biggest bust of the year. I mean, in our draft, I don't know if this guy went there, but I'm going to go with David Johnson. I feel like he's just not going to be... Huh?
That's after we just talked about him, but that's fine.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like he was just drafted too high. I don't think they're going to utilize him the right way. Bill O'Brien is an idiot, and I think we can all agree on that. And, I mean, I think he can have a decent season, but for where he was drafted, I see him being a very late RB2, if not an RB3 this year.
Britt, let me just ask you one thing. What changed for you? If you remember the very first video we did this offseason, we did running back
I know,
tiers,
it's just...
And you said You liked him as like a borderline running back 1 then. What
no,
happened?
no. I said he had the running back 1 potential.
But if
But
we go back and watch the tiers video, you like made us rank him up there. So I just want to know what changed for you.
I know, but in our draft, he went 19. Like, I feel like.
Do you know what running back he went though? Running back 15.
15, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just don't see it, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like, I just think Bill O'Brien's not going to utilize him the right way. I think the Texans are going to be a little overrated this year, maybe.
All right, it's your bus. You're free to say
high
whatever
on
you
him
want.
at the beginning, but yeah, for him to go there, I would have rather had Gurley, Carson, Connor, Singletary, Le'Veon Bell all ahead of him.
The only reason I might disagree with you is because, like Ryan said when we were talking about the Thursday night preview, Bill O'Brien's going to want to prove something, and he will run David Johnson into the ground, even though he's not even that great of a runner. He'll force him to get 1,000 yards.
This is basically Bill O'Brien's legacy. This trade is his legacy. Because if this fucks up like it's going to do, the only thing people are going to remember him by, throw out all the other shitty stuff he's done in the past, they're going to remember that he traded DeAndre Hopkins in his prime for a bag of peanuts.
Yes. And I'm going to stick with, look, I know, but my point, though, at the first video we did was he has that potential just because he's done it before. But the more I kind of looked into it, I don't think the Texans are going to be that good this year. I really don't think they have a lot of offensive weapons. I think they're all going to get hurt at some point. But I don't know. I just don't believe in it.
It's not that far of a reach to say they're all going to get hurt. So.
All right, Matt, your bust.
Well, I'm talking about more receivers. But
all right, my bust, and it kind of sucks because you stole Nick Chubb from me. I was going to go Nick Chubb. I agree with that. But we were also talking before we got on, me and Britt, and he brought up Mike Evans, how he's hurt. And I might have selected Mike Evans even before he was hurt. But now he's got a little hamstring issue, which if you remember from last year, that's what put him on IR to end the season. Now he's got another hamstring issue this year. And Brady, isn't the best deep ball thrower. He can throw it every now and then. But I see Brady leaning more on Godwin than I do Mike Evans. And Mike Evans is more likely to be the receiver that gets shadowed by a lot of these number 1 cornerbacks. And Brady's not going to take the chances that Jameis Winston did. So I said in the Mike Evans video, I prefer Godwin over him, and I'll still stick by that.
All right, so Evans, Chubb, and David Johnson are our bust. All right, let's go biggest sleeper. So I'm not going to draw like an imaginary line. It's got to be after this pick, but just a late round guy that you could see stepping up and being a guy that you start every week and is a consistent fantasy producer. So I went first last time, so someone else go first this time. Sleeper. Britt, you go.
I mean, can I say Daryl Henderson? Or is that too much of a sleeper?
No, that's a sleeper.
It's a huge sleeper. I mean, he's basically in a coma.
Yeah, I'll still be sleeping.
Look, I'm going to go with Henderson just because I think that he has that potential to win that starting job. And I think once McVay sees the talent that he has, he's going to take over that role.
He didn't see it last year?
Do what?
No, he was sleeping on him last year.
He was sleeping.
Well, I mean, he had Gurley. You had money tied up in him. Look, I like Daryl Henderson. Another guy I kind of like, he's just got to stay healthy, is Will Fuller. That would be, I guess, my sleeper pick. But I like both of those guys a lot. I think Will Fuller has like top 10 potential as long as he could just stay healthy.
All right, Matt, sleeper.
Let me pull up my notes where I just have one thing written down. I'm going to go with, which one do I pick? Let's go with Joshua Kelly for the Los Angeles Chargers.
Deep sleeper.
Is it really that deep, though?
He was not drafted.
Never mind. I will take Will Fuller off. I'll go with Daryl Henderson.
I mean, that's a pretty deep sleeper, Matt.
No, but is it really that outrageous to say that he comes in and just takes over the Melvin Gordon role?
No.
Yes,
not outrageous.
Very outrageous. Justin Jackson is there.
Yeah,
Justin Jackson's going through a little foot injury right now. Who knows?
Joshua Kelly wasn't even drafted, Matt.
He's a sleeper, Britt.
Okay, so that's what. Okay,
Look,
so Daryl Henderson wasn't a terrible sleeper pick.
Are we saying that Austin Eckler is getting 100% of the carries?
No.
Would it be like, could he get 60-40 and then the 40% go to Joshua Kelly?
No, I don't.
Why not?
Because,
more like 70,
because even the games
75.
Eckler started last year, he was the main guy. It was only because Melvin Gordon was there. I think they're going to feature Eckler.
I don't
But,
think Eckler's that good of a runner.
This is your take. Take it over.
Yeah, but I don't think like I
Tell
said.
us why.
I said it last year. I don't think Eckler's that good of a runner. I think he averaged around 4 yards per carry, which isn't that great. And he's not a big back. He's kind of a smaller back. He's similar in stature to. Well, he's like 4 foot nothing. Okay, he's just jacked. Justin Jackson's similar in stature to him, so him taking over that big role that Melvin Gordon was, I don't see him doing that either. And Joshua Kelly's got a high praise in the offseason, so I could easily see him coming in and taking 40% of the snaps, being that goal line back for him.
You want to bet me a shotgun? Daryl Henderson outscores Joshua Kelly?
You know what? I'll do that, actually.
This is the one y'all fucking agreed on after all that.
Look, Britt will never. I should have put up a compilation of all the bets Britt, threw out there and then backed away from.
No. Hold on. I have the actual bets that we agreed to, okay? So if I don't agree to it, it's not a bet.
Obviously, yeah. That's how it works.
Obviously.
All right, so you're going Joshua Kelly.
Daryl Henderson.
My sleeper is a guy that I drafted late, who I think could really emerge as a playable wide receiver this year. Deontay Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right? Big Ben is back. Big Ben has always had a pretty fantasy relevant number 2 receiver. Let's think back to 2 years ago when Juju exploded. He was the number 2 to Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, once upon a time, was a number 2 receiver for Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders, once upon a time, was a number 2 receiver for Santonio Holmes. Santonio Holmes was a number 2 receiver for Hines Ward. Like, it goes back and back that a number 2 receiver has been productive for Ben Roethlisberger. He's going to come out and throw the ball. He missed the entire season last year. He's still trying to prove that he's a good quarterback in this league. James Conner, the running situation is maybe not as solid as we thought coming into last season. I just think this is perfect for Deontay Johnson to emerge as the deep threat and be like pushing for 1,000 yards and like 6 or 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't hate it. I just you're banking on Juju being the number 1, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess
Who else is gonna be
all those other guys. Huh?
Who else is going to be the number 1?
No, I'm just saying, like, when you said who did you say the number 1 was with Hines Ward?
Hines Ward.
Who was the number 2?
Santonio Holmes.
I mean, did he have 1,000-yard, 7 touchdown season? Like, was he ever that? Or Hines Ward?
I didn't look up the stats, but they were all good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I'm just have PTSD from last season when.
I think. Well, yeah.
Big Ben
Yeah, without Big Ben, last season meant nothing.
You're really banking on his Big Ben's shoulder healthy.
Yeah.
And if it is, I could see it happening.
And so I'm gonna tell you my little master plan real quick. Is that Deontay Johnson's going to emerge as a playable receiver. That lets me trade one of those 3 guys that I have, Hilton, Lockett, Devontae Parker, to upgrade at another position, and that's how I win the championship. There you
go. Running back?
Or I'm going to grab one of Keegan's 8 tight ends.
I've already scoped them out.
Yeah. All right.
All right, last thing. Last topic.
Our fantasy MVP. So when we talk about fantasy MVP, we're not just going to say Christian McCaffrey because he's going to score the most points. That's pretty obvious. Fantasy MVP, we're talking about a guy, not necessarily that you drafted late, but maybe not in the first 2 or 3 rounds that can emerge as that top guy. For example, last year, fantasy MVPs, Lamar Jackson, Chris Godwin, who Britt drafted. Did you know Britt drafted Chris Godwin? Chris Godwin was there, Lamar Jackson. Those are fantasy MVP types. Guys you got drafted late that won you the league. So keep that in mind as we're giving these fantasy MVP predictions here. So, Matt, you're first here.
I have so many, but I want to go with my might be a deeper sleeper than Joshua Kelly.
Okay.
What?
For fantasy MVP?
For fantasy MVP.
Let's hear it.
Do you understand what fantasy MVP means?
Yeah, I can't do it. I wanted to say Zach Moss, though.
Oh, jeez. No, that's not a fantasy MVP.
But I could see it happening.
Potential to be number 1 overall.
Oh, is that what the fantasy MVP means? I just thought
pretty damn
that's
close.
That's what I think it means.
All right, well then, but he's not playing this week. I'm still going to say it. I'm going to go AJ Green.
I like that.
He's going to be on an offense that's probably going to throw the ball a ton because Cincinnati's defense, while improved, still not that great. And they have your boy Britt as head coach, and he's supposed to be the next. He's supposed to be the next come up like this offensive genius, maybe. No, I wouldn't say genius, but an offensive guy. And I could see Burrow being kind of like a Jameis Winston was last year. Just let him sling it. And AJ Green, we saw in the past, one of the top 5 elite wide receivers in the league. So
if he can get anywhere close to his past production, then where you were able to draft him, that could be a league winner.
I'll throw it again. I like Tyler Boyd as well, but I go AJ Green, higher upside.
All right, my fantasy MVP, I'm going with my running back, Jonathan Taylor. Already mentioned how he has that potential. All right, if he emerges and completely takes over that job, he is an explosive running back. He is a big guy that's fast. He's going to get a ton of carries. He can catch the ball to the backfield. Colts should be an improved team. They have a great offensive line. They have a good defense. All the ingredients are there for Jonathan Taylor to be that rookie that emerges and even pushes Clyde Edwards-Helaire for top rookie running back this year.
I could see it. I just think Mac's going to steal carries, especially early on. But yeah, I guess if you get in the playoffs, he would be your MVP if he wins you the league. So,
all right, Britt, wrap us up here. Your fantasy MVP.
I'm going to go with a guy who's probably not very popular, but he's certainly well in the past. But I'm going to go with James Conner is going to be a top 5 running back this year. I think he's going to be my MVP. This is what this is going for, right? I think he has potential with that Steelers. Big Ben's back. They got Juju, just like Keller said, Deontay Johnson. I think they have a great defense, too. I think they're going to be able to run the ball, utilize him. He should have 10 to 15 touchdowns easily. I think he's going to be a workhorse.
Yeah, we saw his potential 2 years ago when him and Juju both went off. So if Big Ben is fully healthy and they both return to that, then where you're able to draft him, he could be your fantasy MVP.
Deontay Johnson, James Conner. Steelers going off this year.
Steelers going.
James Conner finishing number 1 right ahead of Daryl Henderson.
Like, I had James Conner. I mean, I picked him number 5 overall last year and then went Juju as my next pick. So, and the only thing that happened was Big Ben went down, I feel like. Like, you put him back in there, I feel like I have a totally different team last year.
I also feel like that.
All right. Let's wrap it up here. Football is finally back. Week 1 starts tonight. Just rely on us. We're going to be here all season for your fantasy football needs. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and if you're not subscribing yet on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We'll be back every week with a couple. I think we're going to try to do a couple videos a week.
Sure.
Yeah, that's our plan. And we out.
We out.
We out.